a total drag show of a military parade.
You could not have said a worse sentence, or you couldn't have said something more stupid there. Hey guys, welcome back. I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to be reacting to some pastor clips I've seen online. There's some viral ones that I've seen being covered, like the pastor who did a 420, a weed-themed Easter service, and that was awful. But I found some other things, some nuanced things, some different pastors, some pastrix, some interesting things we'll look at. Without any further ado, let's start looking at these. We're going to start off like any good theology video starts with Cartman from
Give it up
South
for
Park.
Faith plus one.
You know, Jesus, I've been thinking a lot about you lately. Well, that's why I wrote this song. I love you, Jesus. I want you to walk with me.
This is the epitome of modern church music. I love it. I love how on the nose it is. I love everybody with the lighters. This reminds me a lot of some of the circles I'm in, some of the worshiptainment sort of spheres that I have been a part of in my life, much to my own dismay. This is awesome. Every love song of these modern, and I'm calling them love songs rather than worship songs, are just about Jesus basically being your boyfriend. I have nothing new to say about that other than we should just run away from those. We have historic hymns. We have great songs. There are great songs. Why bother? Why sing this? Why sing this? I think it's going to be a theme we see with some of these videos. Why do this? There's just better things out there at a minimum. But more than that, this is just crappy. Let's keep going though. I want to hear the rest of this song.
I take good care of your baby. Call you my baby, baby. You died for my sins, and you know that I would die for you.
This reminds me a lot of a very particular worship song. There's a really, really dumb song, and it's like, if the cross is transformation, then I'll be crucified too. Then I'll be crucified too. And it's freaking ridiculous. The whole point of Christ's crucifixion is that not only could you not, you wouldn't. Nothing would happen other than God's wrath. There's nothing transformative that you would do with your crucifixion. It's the whole idea is that Christ, it's the imputed righteousness of Christ. It's that the righteousness of Jesus is given to us. It's like, and this is the song, it's like, you died for me, but I would die for you, Jesus. The whole reason Jesus came is because you wouldn't do anything selfless. Like, you could not, you would not, and that's why Jesus had to come. Even if you would voluntarily, even if you'd be some Pelagianism, that you have some little seed of good or an initial spot of good in you that you can do something. No, you can't. The wages of sin is death. That's what it needed. You wouldn't die. You were sinful, needed righteousness. And righteousness-wise, we are righteous illiterates. So let's keep going. Let's see if there's any good theology in this song.
What's the matter, baby? You're trembling, Jesus, baby.
I gotta say, Cartman's outfit here, the guy singing, is still better than most evangelical worship leaders currently.
Your love is my life. You know when I'm without you, there's a black hole in my life. Oh, I wanna believe it's alright, but I get lonely in the night, and it's up to you to save me, Jesus, baby.
I like that. We went to the minor chord and then back. Good stuff. All right, that was fantastic. That was great. Okay, on to the next. We got some great pastor clips here.
But I wrote this series in conjunction with one of my best friends who's also a pastor, and this is the thing she loves most. She's so good at going green. She's so good.
Okay, so first, I'm not sure what is going on with this pastor. I think this is a woman. But talking about other pastors, I'm fairly sure this pastor also identifies with the gay community per the whatever's going on right here. Let's hear her out, I think.
Good at when I say I am going to use this styrofoam cup. She's like, God doesn't want you to use that styrofoam cup. I said, I think that's a bit extreme, and I need coffee. This is where we have priorities. Her priorities are, you should see though, she shops at Walmart. And I'm always like, oh, They don't pay a living wage. She's like, well, I'm going to go buy reusable things. It's what do you care about, right? What are sustainable things in this spiritual practice as you reflect on your own relationship with God?
We will do anything moral but actually obey the Bible. I think it's just the epitome of irony here, that this church, this female pastor, is talking to her friend about the moral things that we need to do, of how moral is it to drink out of this cup versus that cup, but they're living in open sexual sin. The text would be so clear on that, but they're going to have conjecture over the type of cup we should have. That is the peak building the fence around the law, a little bit of extra pharisaical. I'm very interested to see where this goes.
I did remove foil from my household, but I replaced it with parchment paper. Parchment paper was a sustainable step. I could keep that one going. It's been years since I've used foil for baking.
Is this like Jesus and global warming? What?
This is our invitation to Lent. How do you take tiny steps?
You know what you need to do for Lent? You need to give up styrofoam, you wretch. You horrible person. Give up styrofoam for Lent. Wow. Wow, caring for creation. Yeah, we should care for creation. God entrusted creation to us. But we also shouldn't be stupid in how we do it. I mean, there's probably a more eloquent way to say that, a little bit more grace here. But this idea is dumb, guys. Let's be honest. We can care for creation and drink out of styrofoam cups. It's all right. Get a coffee. Get a Starbucks. All right, we're gonna keep going. We're gonna keep moving. Okay, another worship song.
God bless the Christian, God bless the atheist, God bless the Muslim, God bless the rest of us. We've got no idea what we're doing.
Evidently not. Evidently not. I think just like, okay, we got to talk about what we mean bless here. Like that was the whole debacle with some of the stuff with the papacy, is what do we mean to bless gay marriage? If we mean conventional, if we just bare bones mean, okay, God bless, God show your favor to, even the Christian, the atheist. Why are we asking God to show favor to worldviews who are even in some cases violently opposed to Christianity? Like I think of the God bless the Muslim, God bless the rest of us. We've got no idea what we're doing. It's kind of real. I mean, we don't really know what we're doing apart from Christ. But seeing that in church, just going to church, you're looking for a beacon of truth, a pillar of your life. What does Paul talk about? It being the pillar and buttress of truth. And you go there and you're like, I'm excited to just hear the truth of God. And this is what's being sung by this woman on the platform. We don't know what we're doing. That's horrible. That's horrible. I would hope in church it is the one place you know a little bit what you're doing. I don't know that I'm catching the full context of any of these clips, but from what I'm understanding, this is a horrible idea to sing this song. Let's keep moving on. If you're singing this in your church, I'm going to refer you to a really, really nice hymnal, or even just some of the historic hymns of the church, even modern worship songs. If you just are yearning for contemporary style, I mean, look somewhere like Shane and Shane or City of Light. There's still some solid stuff if you have some taste preferences. Don't go do this. Come on. All right, maybe something else. Let's look at this guy. Oh, I think I remember some of this.
So here, if it was really Jesus telling Martha not to serve, not to be a deacon, then Jesus needed to learn his lesson and stand corrected.
Ooh. Okay, immediately denying Christ's perfect sinless life, I think.
Readings started with the gospel reading today. That was acknowledging that some of you may not like it. Maybe since you're a hard worker, or getting compared negatively against a sibling, or simply that you hear a criticism of what's much too often women's work. Maybe with a question of just who Jesus thought would make that meal and the bread and all of that and do the dishes if...
We're insinuating Jesus he thought the women would be making the dishes. How much of a bigot is, or doing the dishes and making the food, how much of a bigot is he? No, that's a fair expectation. Jesus has had over, and they're like, hey, Jesus, we're making a meal, we're trying to do this, we're trying to provide for you. For one, that's a wonderful role for a woman to have, to be making food and providing for her family. That's amazing. Let's not dog on that. It's just being women's work over here, and that Jesus was assuming this of her. He's over here to talk to these women. He doesn't have a a low view of women in any story of the Bible. God gives more dignity to women in the Bible than any other religion. I mean, to look at it and say that, okay, let's hear him out. Let's hear what's going on.
Martha didn't. So we started with the gospel in the place of what's usually the Old Testament reading, also as a mental reset. Well, though, if you already didn't like Luke, hearing implicit criticism of housework, of domestic labor, of what still is way too often known as a woman's place.
This is really frustrating. We're trying to make the Bible. Why would you go to church if you believed that all the people who are propagating your belief, the writers of the Bible, are just these racist, homophobic bigots through all these things, that the gospel is actually an enlightened understanding that these cavemen didn't get, that the apostles evidently weren't on? I mean, Luke really he kind of just had it wrong. Like, why be a pastor? I mean, that's probably generous to this guy here. Like, why do it? Why, if there needs to be so much correction had, why even do it? Why go to church if it's going to be constantly corrected in mind? Why there's no confidence in the Scripture other than going and looking to places like what Paul would say, and to talk about how women, it is so fruitful. One of the best things that women can do, I think it's in the letter to Timothy, where he talks about how women instruct other women, and instruct them in how to be good women, and even like to child rear, that the example you have in your home, that one of the most wonderful things a woman can possibly do, aside of giving her life to Christ and raising and rearing a good family, is to serve her family. And that happens in the context of the home. Men don't bear children, women do. They're genetically predisposed to do that. It's okay to just say things. There are certain things that women and men are better at, by and large, not necessarily in every single case, but I can tell you one that they're certainly better at in my home. My wife, she certainly does a whole lot better at cooking than I do, and we enjoy cooking together. So let's not just belittle this or dismiss it as if it's not in other portions of the Bible. Men cook, women cook, but let's not say that Luke is having a clash of gender roles. This is dumb. We can talk about gender roles apart from this passage. That's not in the text.
Then let me go ahead and make it worse.
Yeah.
And say that this may actually be trying further to diminish women's roles. It comes from the mouth of Jesus. And I really hope that it was...
We're just going to say again, I'm sorry, I don't mean to be rude. This is not right. This is kind of dumb. This idea that the point of the passage is, hey, work that you're doing over here is wrong. It's that there's something much more important here. Jesus is not saying don't take care of your house or what you're doing. Jesus is saying, no, come to me. Like to all of us, Christ is the most important part of existence, certainly of our lives. That's the point of the story. It's not to get worse and condemn gender roles with hand movement. No, let's keep going.
The writer Luke, who just put it on Jesus' lips. Martha has a strong social position, but what's more, hidden in the original language is that the tasks she's doing are described as diakonia.
Ooh, I don't like actually at all the verbiage of sorry guys, I don't want to be so pessimistic, but I don't even like the version of hidden in the text, that sort of quote. Like we need to mind the Greek to really get the meaning of I'm a Greek student. I am learning the biblical languages, and I can tell you, like, the translators aren't like skirting you by and large. There are objectively better and worse translations, but it's maybe that's a nitpick. But hidden in the text, I hate the idea that it's like, actually you've misunderstood this all wrong. We have some kind of Gnostic insight that, granted, the language absolutely will inform your understanding. There's been so many things I didn't understand, like even the story, or where Jesus is talking about, hey, things being lukewarm. It's not a thing of, are you kind of saved? Are you really for Christ? It's more so usefulness. Cold water is useful, hot water is useful. And there is something that can be gleaned there. There are a lot of things misunderstood through history because we don't have understanding, but not these big biblical tenets that he's about to discuss. I guarantee he probably goes into an argument to talk about deacons and the diakonos and the female deacon.
It's the word that gives us the title deacon,
Yeah. Okay.
which became and remains a title in the church. Official.
You know, this was not the instituting of deacons, and it certainly wasn't of just okaying like women leadership in the church just by and large. That is gross misrepresentation.
In the ELCA, we have pastors, and deacons. Deacons involved in word and service ministries. In the Roman Catholic Church, women still are not allowed to be deacons. And Luke is telling Martha and other women that they shouldn't be deacons. In Luke's sequel, the book of Acts, no woman...
Well, at least we represented Luke well. I would say, yeah, that's also the fair reading of Luke, is that women are not. I mean, he's about to quote it.
...is referred to as deaconing. There was a purge. The so-called better part that Mary has chosen is to sit passively in church.
And then Mary's the women's just sitting passively in church, just because women are just be say the verbiage of silent or respectful. Passivity isn't the right word to get at it at all. Like, I would hope that everybody's reverent in church and we're just taking it in. I mean, if you're super assertive in church, you're probably doing it wrong. I don't know what he's getting at there.
An instruction that no man is ever supposed to fill. Just listening. She doesn't ask questions. She doesn't respond in any way.
All right, I think we're done with this one. We're just going to read into the text. What we shouldn't do, granted, I am not by any means an expert preacher, but what we don't want to do is build a little a secret mini narrative around the meta narrative of a story or of scripture. And this person felt this, and they were objectified in this way, and what Jesus was really thinking here. That's really poor hermeneutics. All right, let's keep going. Let's see what's going on. I think I'm done with that one.
And I can say without a doubt that the two decisions we made to have children were far more significant moral decisions than the decisions to end two pregnancies.
Okay, that is absolute hogwash. That is sin. Let's not ever make statements like that again. That's sin. That is wrong. Abortion is murder. This is what God has created. It is life in the womb. That God knit them together. It is not more significant. Do we choose to live or to die? Wow, you get into eugenics really quickly with that one. We'll get into some more abortion apologetics and things, but that's just ridiculous. It's a far more, bigger, important decision. That's ridiculous. Look to Christ your Redeemer, who bought you back from death to life. No, it's not your credence to be a murderer to what children are convenient. That's ridiculous. All right, I know this is a big, long one. Let's keep going. Let's react some more.
Jesus' triumphant drag queen entry into...
Okay, it's going to be one of these. I don't know if I'm the first to tell you right now, but Christ is not a drag queen. Never. That's debaucherous. I hate that those words have to come out of my mouth. Ever.
Jerusalem is doomed. Much of fascism is a bluff. Look at our loyal cult. Listen to our outrageous language. Heed our threats of violence. We are inevitable.
Quoting Thanos in your sermon, I guess points for that.
It's a bluff. It's a ridiculous mirage of might that is made up to make us feel small. And in the face of this, Jesus laughs. Because that is what Palm Sunday is. It is a total drag show of a military parade.
You could not have said a worse sentence, or you couldn't have said something more stupid there.
Homespun and homemade with the simple things that people simply had on hand. Jesus didn't need shiny armor or powerful horses or lions in chains. Because Jesus is the Lion of Judah, and Jesus, in this moment, is doing a drag show.
Yeah, okay, we'll keep going.
Not to, quote myself, but I do talk about this in my book. And
Okay. Just as a general rule, I hear it's good not to tweet yourself and your sermons and plug your book. We'll see what she has to say in her book.
I have a chapter called A Drag Queen Messiah that I want to read from. Drag is a performance art form that takes the bizarre and the banal to an extreme, holding up a mirror to our lives so we can find humor and release.
That's what drag is about, everybody. It's humor. It's humor. If you actually thought that going to drag show is just all about humor, we should laugh at these men. We should. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You're created as a man. You should have male features. You should not be trying to look like a female. You should not have fake female parts. Yes, that's all drag is about. Drag is just for you to laugh. It's just for giggles. It's just fun. It's just funny. It's not debauchery. Yeah, that is a lie from the devil. That is an old lie. Well, let's not buy that, guys. Come on.
In the silliness of being alive. Drag
The silliness of being alive. Good quote.
queens use bold makeup and exaggerated dance moves to illumine the ludicrous beauty standards and at the same time uplift what is beautiful in the mundane reality of life. Drag is an art form that is rooted in protest.
Drag is an art form that's rooted in total depravity.
In unraveling gender roles and in unspooling militaristic masculinity.
The Bible upholds gender roles very clearly. It says that men have hard jobs and women have hard jobs. A man's job is not to dress as a woman and dance around. It can't be said more plainly than that. Let's keep going.
Through femininity. As drag artist Sasha Velour says, the art of drag is...
Scripture quoted in the sermon. Drag queens quoted in the sermon. 1. All right. That's awesome. Let's finish this one up.
able to create something new in the mixing of seeming opposites. Drag uses artifice to show us what is artificial about power in our world. Drag also laughs at the power in this world for its ludicrous need to perform power in order to be powerful.
I think she said ludicrous like 4 times, and I'm not sure what she actually means within that. Like, I know what ludicrous means. I'm not sure what she's intending. I don't really know what she's getting at. Drag is the whole flamboyance, and it's laughable how this is happening. Christ's coming in on a donkey in Palm Sunday. It's not just random. It is a show of kingship. So we would have Solomon, or I think so the Maccabees were some of the last to come in on a procession in the city. I might be wrong about that. I know it was Solomon. That was a big thing of you have a king come in. It's a show of humbleness, and it would be might look a little funny even then when you have a big man on this little donkey, but it's a show of humbleness and power. It would be kingly. People know what's going on here. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Like this is Christ coming in an overt way, and people are saying, "Save us." There's some acknowledgement that this person is claiming to be a savior now. And with Christ, we have to look and never appropriate something that's joyous as this. This would be Christ making himself known as drag ever. That's ridiculous. Let's never put sexually debased things on Christ. Well, let's especially never compare symbolic and specific actions, kingly actions, to just, how drag just kind of is a funny little silly way of life. Jesus is just a funny little silly guy going to the city. No, it's ridiculous. Christ is the sovereign King and Lord of your life and of the universe, and he died for your sins, and this is part of the step of him going in to do that, fulfilling all righteousness. So no.
Y'all tracking with me?
No. No. No.
Drag also laughs at the power in this world for its ludicrous need to perform power in order to be powerful. And Jesus is doing that. He's just laughing in the face of the empire. And
I think we like to make Jesus like our super rebel hero here. There's a lot of pop culture references. I love pop culture. I've got like a bunch of cool stuff on my shelf up there. At least I think they're cool. Action figures and comic books and whatever. Making constant pop culture random references to this, like Jesus says this rebel, or I am inevitable, Thanos snap. It devalues what you're saying if you just constantly putting them again and again and again. I like to think in those sort of things and in metaphors too. But this is a little much, right?
the thing. This empire is going to kill Jesus.
Yes, but we killed Jesus. Our sin holds Christ on the cross. Christ denies any sort of worldly pleasure for us. We did. So it's not like let's just get behind Jesus the rebel. No, Christ hung on the cross for our sin.
Because of this parade, because of this laughter, because of this mockery, because of this resisting empire, Jesus is about to die. We do this day, this Palm Sunday, a disservice. We do Holy Week a disservice when we see this as doomed. When we see that Jesus' triumphant drag queen entry into Jerusalem is doomed.
Isn't that just the whole thing? You made argument for? Okay, let's see.
Yes, he's going to be killed. That's real. But he's also not going to stay dead. And right, Jesus is triumph.
All right. At least we affirm. I'd be skeptical to go on and say bodily resurrection. I hope so. That'd be awesome if we affirm an actual resurrection of Christ. I know in more liberal churches we don't generally see that, so I hope that's the case. I hope there's a little bit of truth shared in that message. Guys, I just want to be super clear. If you find yourself in a church like this, leave. Like you don't be here. Don't mess with this. It's hard to even consider these churches, guys. That's not because we want to be bigoted about who is and who isn't the church, or we have a one true church over where I would be like, oh, Presbyterians, we're the one true church. No, God's kingdom is very large. There are a lot of people. There are a lot of different people in God's kingdom. But God does not want sin in His kingdom. We shouldn't be okay with this. So this is laughable. I hope you guys have enjoyed this sort of deal. But let's not make this mainstay. If you see anything like this, send it over. Let me know. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know maybe how many times she said ludicrous. If somebody could count that up and give that to me, that would be awesome. But as always, please like, comment, subscribe, share these videos. I hope they are profitable to you. I would love to know what you guys want to see. We're working on some videos about Protestant apologetics, doctrines like double predestination we'll get to. But in the meantime, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. I'm Gabe Holcomb with Reformed Reason, and I'll see you next time.